What's up YouTube? Welcome back to Wasatch Moto Overland. Today I'm going to be showing you how to put a body lift on a first gen Sequoia. So I just got the front bumper pulled off. I'm going to be building the custom move bumper for this, but I figured it'd be a lot easier to do this with the front bumper off. So this was where the front bolts were, right here. Easy enough. There's just a 14mm nut on the bottom, so that gets the front done. One thing you have to do is, being as you're lifting the body, you're going to need to either loosen the top or the bottom of these. I just did the top, and I just used this tool right here, and I just went in, hopefully you can see that, and just popped these out just like that. That will give you room to lift it up. This one's not attached, so we're good there. And then the second mount is right in here, right by the front of the door. So to access this, you just pull your carpet back. You can take this piece off and this, and it will make it a lot easier. But basically right under this is where the 17mm bolt was. There's nothing else all the way until you get to here. Same thing, remove this piece right here with 3 Phillips head screws, move your carpet back, and underneath this little cap, there's your next 17. All right, so the next location of mounts is right under here. So if you follow this up, right behind this panel, there's another cap right here. So super easy. The Phillips, these two things just pop straight out, just pull them straight out and they'll pop out. And then I removed this piece with these Phillips here. So super easy. I was worried I was gonna have to take this box out, but it looks like I'm not gonna have to, so that's good. All right, so we're working on the steering extension kit. So this is what it looks like. It's got 2 insets on one side and just 2 bolt holes that go all the way through. So the 2 bolts that you want to remove are the nut and bolt combo, not these 2 that have a stud. The stud comes all the way up here as some sort of safety feature, maybe in case, I don't know why they have it that way, but these are not removable. So the idea is when you go to put this on, these little insets will slide over that stud. So I just left this one in. I just got both of them taken off. It's a little tricky because it's kind of tight in here, but you'll end up with this being loose like that. So this will allow us to jack up the frame 2 inches and then put our spacer right here. So we've got all of these loose, all of the bolts are out. So at this point, what we're going to be doing is using this floor jack right in here is where we're going to jack it up. So let's see what happens here. So basically I just took those 2 2x4s and slowly jacked both sides up until I could fit the spacers in. So now I'm working on this one here, and this cab is pretty heavy. So what I'm doing is jacking this up on my rock rail, which is attached to the body, just enough to get a 2x4 in here. So I'm gonna go through and just put a 2x4 in all the way around, and then I'm gonna come back to this one, and it'll be much easier because the whole vehicle won't be sloped like that. So that's what I'm doing. I've got the 2x4 in on the other side. So next I just got to do these back two and then the farthest back ones. All right, so before we jack this up, I suspect, because I can't get much space to put a 2x4 in here, I suspect the bumper is holding us up here. So I'm gonna take off. I've heard that the bumper is attached to the frame underneath, so I'm gonna take this bumper skin off. And a trick that is kind of difficult, you have to pop this screw out, or whatever was here, and the little holder, so you can push this over, because our bolt that we need to access is right there. So I'll see if I can put my socket on here. So you got to feed your extension and your socket up, and that's the bolt right up there. And you'll see as I loosen this whole bumper will just get some free play. So those bolts are out, and this, as you can tell, is nice and free. Okay. All right, so basically what I did here on the back was I just got some 2x4s, used my floor jack, and I just jacked it up right here on the corner. And so basically I did the front, the very front, I put 2x4s in the ones by the front door, 2x4s here, and then I jacked the back up with 2 floor jacks, and then I got my spacers in on both sides there and here. Then while I had this up, there was enough clearance for these two right here. So those are in, they're just loosely placed. And then I still have to do these two real quick, which I think I can just jack up this a little bit and put those spacers in. So we should be good to go there. It is day 2 on the lift kit install, and we're working on this rear bumper. So what needs to be done is this needs to be basically removed. So I just got my little jigsaw, flip the bumper over, and I'm going to trim this off because you can't get it up quite enough with this because it's hitting the bumper on the bottom. So I'm going to trim that up and we'll see how it fits after that. Ooh, that looks fantastic. Alright, so we got the bumper on here. As you can see, it lines up really good. The 2x4s in here make it really basically like it was factory. The only difference is down here you've got a 1/2 inch of this hitch showing, which is not a big deal. I'm gonna respray this, sand this and respray it black. Honestly, this was the most that I was concerned about. I thought you'd see, like, you know, the whole hitch, but you don't, and it almost just blends in with the bumper. So worked out really nice. So that part was easy. I ended up just using some 2x4s and another piece of like 1/2 inch trim because it still had a little bit of play in it. So but yeah, that was pretty easy. The next thing we're gonna do is the steering, so let's get to that. All right, so we're down here where the adjustment for the steering will be made. Basically it's pretty straightforward. this block is going to slip down inside there and make up for that. Yeah, so we can just slide this over. Slide the steering rod over. Oh, come on. Okay. Okay, there we go. So that's on. Now we just have to get this up over the thing here, and we should be set. So we need to push the steering rod up just a hair, like an 1/8 of an inch. Oh, come on. We're almost there. Oh, I think I got it. Oh, no way. Sick. All right. Now, this kit comes with 2 of these bolts. So we're simply going to, logically, I would assume, put the bolt in through the top. Oh man, look how easy that was. So worth getting this kit. That way if this nut falls off, you're not totally screwed. And that's it, folks. Just 2 bolts, and that's what it's gonna look like when it's done. This part only took about 10-15 minutes or so. So pretty happy with how that piece fit in there perfectly. Alright, so the last thing we're going to do is we're going to drop our radiator. These are the bolts that hold, there's 4 of them that hold the radiator and the shroud in place, and you can access them from this side. It's a lot easier with the bumper off, but you can do it without it. So we're going to loosen all of those, and then we're going to install our little brackets. So we have to lift the radiator up and pull out. That will allow our radiator to come down. Because there's these little, I don't know if you can see them, but there's these little tabs on the radiator brackets that keep it in place. So this is what the brackets look like. There is 4 of them. Alright, so this was a little tricky. The best method that I found for doing this radiator drop is to get inside the engine bay right here, put your knees on this and the intake manifold, and use one hand to pull this back while hopefully you can see this, but the factory bolt goes into the bracket, and then the bracket goes up 2 inches and then has a stud that comes out on this end. So you have to attach the bracket without these nuts on to the shroud or the radiator support bracket first, and then you can slide all of these through the holes. So it took a little bit of time, but the bottom ones are pretty easily accessed if you have the bumper off. And then the top ones were a little bit tricky, but we got them. And then one other thing, those little hooks that this radiator hooks into this radiator support from the factory, you have to bend those out with a pair of pliers, because otherwise they won't allow this to mount, because it'll be in the way. I'm glad that I didn't start this, because the fan was actually hitting the bottom of the shroud because the radiator was too high. This wouldn't actually move. So had I tried to start it, this would have made a huge racket, I'm sure, possibly broken something. So make sure you don't start it until you have this radiator dropped. I'm gonna be building my custom move bumper, so I'll probably leave the bumper off. But if you were using the bumper, it actually still you just take the bumper support out, and you've got these little tabs where the bumper actually slides in. So basically it just slides back in and it looks factory. You'll have to find a way to mount that hard line for the oil cooler, but other than that, if you wanted to go this route, you totally could. So anyways, hope you found this video helpful. The next one will be us building this bumper out, and this is interesting because all of the 2001 to 2003 bumpers or Sequoias have this trim piece, and the newer ones like 05 to 07, this is all built into the bumper. So I'm gonna have to adapt my move bumper to make this work. So I'll show you the process of doing that and making it look good. So stay tuned. Well guys, here's the finished product. I wanted to show you what it looked like when everything was all finished. I still, because they sent me the wrong bolts, I'm still waiting on those, but this is basically complete. I just have to swap the bolts out when I get the correct ones. So basically, you can definitely tell we've got 2 extra inches here. Before at full lock we would rub down here, and now there's like just tons of clearance. So I think once these tires wear out, these are 34s, I'll probably go with 37s, because there's tons of clearance now. So, and you know what I was kind of concerned about was this looking dumb, because you know, on my truck with my utility bed, you can see clear all the way through the bed, but I was thinking maybe it would look like that, and I was thinking I would have to get something to cover this, because previously this was basically right on the frame and you can't see through, so it doesn't look like it's a body lift. The other thing that I was concerned about was the rear bumper. I thought for sure this would stick out, you know, the bumper would be showing this a lot more, and it really doesn't. It looks really good, like you can't even tell that this is any different really. So I'm gonna sand this later, spray it with undercoating black. I'm gonna do another video on undercoating, coating this whole frame. Mine's starting to show a little bit of surface rust on the frame, nothing major, but I want to address it before you know, before it gets bad. So anyways, that kind of gives you an idea on the height. I'll do a before and after shot from right here so you can see kind of what it looked like before. In terms of the steering component, there's the spacer that was installed. Super easy to do. I actually had to do it twice because on mine I accidentally had the steering wheel or the steering shaft rotated 180 degrees. So when I got in it to test drive it, the steering wheel was upside down. So if you're doing that, make sure the steering wheel is straight when you put it on. And then on these radiator supports, they basically just have a bracket with a stud. The stud comes out this way, and then the factory bolts hold the bracket onto the existing one, and it drops this. The radiator used to be flush like this, now it's down about 1.5 to 2 inches. So overall, this kit probably took me, I want to say I got started late yesterday, so probably about a day. They're pretty accurate on that, about 7 to 8 hours. You know, if you got 2 people working on it, it could be done in half a day. But overall, I'm really stoked. I thought maybe you would be able to see the frame more. It does not look like, you know, those dumb rigs where you can tell 100% that it's a body lift, like the body is way off the frame. One other thing, when I do the undercoating, I'm gonna go ahead and spray all of these black so you can't see it from here as obviously. But yeah, anyways, hopefully this tutorial helped you guys to you know, be able to do this on yours. Like I said, I didn't know that a body lift was even made for these, so I'm really happy with it. If you want more information as far as where you can get this, let me know. I'll leave the link to their website in the description. It's really hard to use, so let me know if you would benefit from me creating these lift kits and selling them. This literally took like 3 months to get these in, and then they sent me the wrong bolts. So I'm not opposed to assembling some kits, but it just kind of depends on the demand. So let me know if that would be something that would interest you, and I'll do my best to accommodate. But anyways, hope you guys found this video helpful, and remember to hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch y'all on the next one. Later.